I could never have imagined that one day I would find myself recounting a story so painfully raw. For years, my spouse and I were the epitome of unity, inseparable, our lives woven together with shared laughter, adventures, and unwavering support. I believed our connection was something extraordinary, a bond destined to withstand anything life threw our way. Our physical intimacy had always been the foundation of our closeness, an unspoken promise of connection. But then, almost imperceptibly, that foundation began to crack. It started slowly, a subtle shift I couldn't quite place. One night, I reached out to her, not driven by desire, but by a deep, unspoken need for closeness. To my surprise, she pulled away. Her words were quiet but heavy. "I'm just overwhelmed, so tired from everything." I tried to brush it off. After all, we all have those moments, right? But the distance between us continued to grow. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and each time I tried to bridge the gap, I was met with yet another reason: work stress, headaches, exhaustion. I wanted to give her space, to respect whatever emotional burdens she was carrying, believing that the distance might just be a phase. So, I did what I knew best. I tried to be supportive, doing everything I could to ease her load. I cooked her favorite meals, took on extra chores, even planned a romantic getaway to rekindle our spark. But nothing changed. She grew more distant, more closed off, leaving me feeling like a ghost in our home, a mere shadow of the man I once was in her life. I eventually gathered the courage to talk to her, to try to understand what was happening, to ask what was wrong. But every time she deflected me. "It's just a phase," she would say, her voice soft yet unconvincing, her eyes betraying a flicker of something I couldn't place, guilt maybe, or something deeper. She reassured me, but I wasn't convinced. And then, almost 5 months later, everything shifted in a way that left me reeling. Out of nowhere, she began dressing up at home, slipping into the kind of alluring outfits she once saved for special occasions. Her touch, once withdrawn, was now light and playful. Her laughter returned, the sound of it filling the space between us, as if we were the couple we used to be. She cooked my favorite dishes for 3 nights straight, each meal a nostalgic echo of the good times we had shared. And then came the bombshell. "I think we should start a family." My heart skipped a beat. A part of me wanted to believe this was a rekindling of her affection, a sign that she was reconnecting with me. But the suddenness of the change felt contrived, too perfect, as if it were a carefully orchestrated performance. I knew something wasn't right. I masked my doubts, offering a tentative smile, suggesting we wait. But she didn't back down. Instead, she doubled down, increasing her efforts to reignite a flame that had long since flickered out. Her presence became intoxicating, her fingers tracing my skin, her voice low and seductive, embodying the woman I hadn't seen in months. She seemed determined to bring us back to the passionate couple we once were. But I couldn't ignore the warning signs, the pieces of the puzzle that didn't fit. Then came the moment that shattered everything. 3 months into this strange, renewed intimacy, I began to notice subtle changes in her appearance. Her face looked fuller, her cheeks softer, and she had stopped joining me for a glass of wine at dinner. One morning, I heard her rush to the bathroom, the unmistakable sound of her sickness reaching my ears. I asked her if she was okay, and she turned to me, glowing with a serene smile, and said the words that would haunt me forever. "I'm expecting." Time seemed to freeze. We hadn't been intimate in months. I stood there, paralyzed, watching her radiate joy, acting as if everything was perfect. But inside, I was unraveling, gripped by an invisible force. I kept my composure, offering her a hollow congratulations, even pulling her into a brief embrace. But the truth was undeniable. This child could not be mine. The months of rejection, the excuses, the emotional distance, it all came rushing back in an instant. She had sought comfort elsewhere. When she discovered she was pregnant, fear must have overtaken her, and she resorted to whatever means necessary to make me believe the child was mine. She turned on the charm, not out of love, but out of a frantic desperation to conceal her betrayal. And yet, I had never wavered. I hadn't touched her in months. The truth was impossible to ignore. Our marriage, once built on trust and intimacy, had crumbled, and she had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. The silence between us returned, but this time it was heavier, more suffocating. Her performance continued, an act so convincing that even I almost believed it at times. But deep within I withdrew, my heart building walls no apology or charm could breach. In the dead of night, I began a quiet investigation, a need for answers pushing me to seek what I feared I might find. One morning, when she was in the shower, I took the opportunity to access her phone. Most of the messages had been deleted, but with a little effort, I uncovered fragments, enough to see the truth beneath the surface. There, in the digital remnants, I found him, a man from her fitness class, the one she had always described as just a workout buddy. But the messages told a different story, one of late-night exchanges, laughter, and shared intimacies that spoke of a connection far beyond casual workouts. The weight of what I was seeing hit me like a physical blow, but I remained calm, no anger, no outbursts. I had already known in my gut that the betrayal was real. When I confronted her, she denied it at first, her voice trembling with a mix of panic and innocence. But soon the tears came, desperate sobs, pleading for understanding. She told me how lost she had felt, how she believed I had stopped loving her, how this mistake, this infidelity, meant nothing. I didn't shout, didn't break down. I simply looked at her, my gaze unwavering, and for the first time, I felt a chilling emptiness seep into my soul. It was as if in that moment, everything that once made us had vanished, leaving nothing but hollow echoes in its place. That evening, I packed a small bag, taking only what was necessary, and left for my brother's house. I told her to sort out her life, her lies, her choices, and made it clear that I would not be raising a child that wasn't mine. The finality of those words hung in the air between us, but neither of us spoke them again. In the wake of it all, I sought solace in therapy, a place to untangle the wreckage of my heart and mind. I confided in a few close friends, but even with them, I kept the full story locked away. Solitude became my refuge, the space I needed to process this agony in peace. Now, as I reflect on it all, I share this story not for sympathy, but as a cautionary tale for anyone who feels lost in uncertainty, who silences that inner voice whispering that something is wrong. Listen to it. I found no closure in her words, no resolution in her desperate apologies. But I found it in the clarity that only the truth can bring, an unshakable truth that forced me to see the situation for what it was. It was painful, but it was the only way forward.